recommended leader that's also trusted by over 40 national championship winning pro and college sports teams for cardio powered energy.
For cardio result, the only brand that costs Super Beats.
Try Super Beats today at Human.com.
So they started building new sites, new places, underground bunkers that will make their ballistic missile program and their atomic bomb program immune within months. If no action is taken now, no action could be taken in the future. And then they could target America, they could blackmail America, they could threaten us and threaten everyone in between. So action had to be taken, and we need a resolute president like Donald Trump to take that action.
Israel Mr. President Netanyahu talking to Sean Hannity, who will be on Hannity tonight, 9 p.m. Eastern Time. You can see that poll tonight. Sitting talking about a threat from Iran before the session started. Let's begin on that. Fox News Chief Political Analyst Rick Hume, Political Analyst Bureau Chief Joshua Burns, and Scott Hannity, scholar of the American President Institute and Wall Street Journal opinion columnist. Rick, there's a lot of talk all over the airwaves, up on Capitol Hill, about was there an imminent threat? You know, we're early in this operation, it had a lot of military success already, but you hear the Prime Minister there dealing with that in that sound.
Yeah, I don't think the case that there's an imminent threat in the usual sense of that term needs to come into play here. The President has ample authority as Commander-in-Chief to undertake one of these missions. And of course, the War Powers Act of 1973, which really required him to consult with Congress first, and then he had 60 days of leeway before he got to pull the troops out or do whatever. I don't think they're planning anything like a 60-day mission. I also think, Brett, that I don't think there's any reason to doubt the assessment that we were given by the Pentagon and later by both the President and Secretary of State, that the mission is ahead of schedule because that's extraordinary, and this extraordinary piece of good fortune that these geniuses in Tehran decided it was a great idea Saturday morning to all get together in one place for a big breakfast meeting, which is what triggered this whole attack. So I think that's kind of where we are. They're ahead of schedule because they had this stroke of fortune and they're going to wipe out, dozens of these leaders. So I think, once again, we've been through it for a couple of days now. So far, so good. The casualty figures are militarily insignificant, although if they grow, they could become politically significant, and that's certainly something to keep an eye on, as well as the fact that Rubio, the President, and others are saying today that the big part of this attack is yet to come.
Yeah. Gosh, I talked to the President on the phone this morning. I asked him about the next steps, the next leaders that may step up, the belief that they could find someone that the U.S. and the Western world could deal with. He said yes, I feel that there is, and some of them are no longer with us, to be honest, because it was 49 leaders who were taken out. They're now using people, studying people to be the leader, that even they don't know who they are because 49 leaders is deep in the succession chain. They believe there is a way forward here. Josh, your thoughts on what else is coming out of the White House?
The administration has been saying that the regime change was not an objective of this operation. It's not what they were going for. But the regime has changed, Brett, and what happens with Iranian leadership is going to have massive impact on the region going forward. And as you've heard from the president, it does seem that he wants to have some influence over that. But the way that the history books look at this, and certainly the way that American voters will look at this, especially
4 weeks, but that they're ahead of schedule, Matthew. He said to me today that they are doing better than they expected to be doing. The resistance from Iran is less than they expected at this moment. And then we heard that briefing at the Pentagon, the chairman of the Joint Chiefs, talking about what they're able to do with the defenses inside Iran.
This is not a single overnight operation, and in some cases will be difficult and gritty work.
This was our last best chance to strike.
The American people want us to focus on making their life better, not getting involved in another endless war in the Middle East that is going to end in failure.
I can't get into details, but every month it gets much worse and more dangerous. That's an unacceptable risk for the United States.
The combined impact of these strikes, swift, precise, and overwhelming, has resulted in the establishment of local air superiority. This air superiority will not only enhance the protection of our forces, but also allow them to continue to work over Iran.
Big air superiority.
It is. I mean, the people who are searching for off-ramps, I think you need to take a step back and look at the overall situation. But there have been 8 U.S. presidents since the Islamic Revolution in Iran, and only one of them has been undeterred by the terrorist regime in Tehran, and that's Donald Trump. Beginning in his first term, with getting us out of the nuclear agreement, with exerting maximum pressure, with killing Qasem Soleimani, the head of the terrorist Islamic Revolutionary Guard, and now extending into his second term, with reinserting maximum pressure, Operation Might Hammer against the nuclear program last year, and now this operation in conjunction with our Israeli partners to degrade and destroy not only the military infrastructure of the Iranian regime, but also the apparatus of oppression that the mullahs have used to oppress their people for years. This is a historically significant operation with huge strategic consequences, not just for the Middle East, but for the world.
Yeah, and we don't know how long it's going to last. You had Secretary Rubio saying the hardest hits are yet to come from the U.S. military. President Trump saying as much as well. It's going to be the early days.
Right, everything, and I mean everything depends on how this goes. If the administration is undertaking a successful in basically defanging Iran as a regional and as a world power, to the extent that it is one, even if the regime is on paper at least not really changed, they can't do the stuff they used to do, and they've been doing for decades now. This will be likely to be judged a very great success, and the politics at that point will take care of itself as well as the Republicans and the president.
Follow every step of the way, panel. Thank you. Finally tonight, a special report salute.
There's no ceremony that can be much more important than this.
We gathered this morning to recognize the unsurpassed courage of 3 really incredible American heroes. U.S. Army soldiers retired Command Sergeant Major Terry Richardson, Staff Sergeant Michael Ollis, and Master Sergeant Roger Edmonds were awarded the Medal of Honor, Congressional Medal of Honor by President Trump. And it was an amazing ceremony on that everyone applauded today as he made those comments about Iran as well. Tomorrow, special report, Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem testifies before the Senate Judiciary Committee in an oversight hearing on Capitol Hill. Remember, you can't catch us live, set your DVR, 6 p.m. East, 3 p.m. to the West Coast. You can follow me on TikTok, X, on Instagram, at Brett Bear. We've got you covered from the White House tonight, fair, balanced, and unafraid. Here's Laura.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Laura Ingram. This is the Ingram Angle from Washington tonight. As always, thank you for spending some time with us. We do have a Fox News alert, new reporting that there could be a major uptick in attacks on Iran in the next 24 hours. And Secretary Marco Rubio warning that the hardest hits are yet to come. Fox News Chief National Security Correspondent Jennifer Griffin is standing by with all the latest. Jennifer.
Good evening, Laura. U.S. Central Command says it has sunk all 11 of the Iranian Navy ships since the operation began. And one of its objectives for this operation to destroy Iran's Navy so it can no longer threaten shipping lanes. And also releasing this video of one of the U.S. military's airstrikes on an Iranian Navy vessel in the Gulf of Oman. Overnight, B-1 bombers from Ellsworth They were fueled by the same tanker air bridge used by the 4 B-2 bombers that flew 37 hours round trip from Whiteman Air Force Base in Missouri with dozens of 2,000-pound bombs. General Dan Payne told a Pentagon briefing today more U.S. forces have flown into the region, and the U.S. and Israel have now taken out all of Iran's Russian and Chinese air defenses.
The combined impact of these strikes, swift, precise, and overwhelming, has resulted in the establishment of local air superiority. This air superiority will not only enhance the protection of our forces, but also allow them to continue to work over Iran.
Secretary Hegseth would not rule out having U.S. troops on the ground in Iran. He was asked if he is concerned about it spiraling into a longer war. 3 American F-15 Strike Eagle fighter jets were shot down by Kuwaiti air defenses in a friendly fire incident. All 6 American pilots evacuated safely. The death toll from that Iranian missile or drone that struck a U.S. Tactical Operations Center, Laura, is now 6.